GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Good evening. Tragedy struck the Stevenson Expressway with one dead and another injured, while a massive derecho leaves northwest Indiana in darkness. Expect heavy rain and gusty winds as the air and water show lifts off and minor Dan Ryan delays. Over to you, Miles.
The 39th Street Summerfest kicks off tomorrow, featuring local food trucks, live jazz, and a kids' craft corner at the South Loop Park.
Organizers expect over 500 families, and a free yoga session at noon will be led by a veteran instructor from Hyde Park.
The festival also showcases a pop-up art gallery with works from emerging Chicago muralists, open from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m.
Lots to get to today, but first a quick look at this weekend's Community Fest, and now the news. Here are our top stories. Illinois State Police report a crash on the Stevenson Expressway near Bridgeport early Saturday morning, leaving one person dead and another hospitalized. Grady Sokolowski has the full story.
The early morning crash on the Stevenson Expressway near Bridgeport left one driver dead and another in the hospital. Illinois State Police say a two-vehicle collision on the Southwest Side Highway turned deadly just after dawn Saturday. First responders arrived quickly, extracting the injured from a mangled sedan while crews worked to clear the busy roadway. The expressway, a main artery for commuters, was shut for several hours as investigators examined the scene. Officials have not released a cause, but traffic remained sluggish through the morning as detours were posted. The fatality was pronounced at a nearby trauma center while the other victim is being treated for serious injuries. Grady Sokolowski, GMNA News, Bridgeport.
Satellite imagery from NASA revealed a dramatic loss of nighttime lights across northwest Indiana after the derecho storms ripped through the area on Saturday. The storms knocked out power for more than 60% of NIPSCO customers, leaving thousands in darkness as trees and transmission lines were shredded. The contrast between the bright pre-storm grid and the blacked-out region was stark enough to be seen from orbit, underscoring the scale of the damage. NIPSCO crews are working around the clock to restore service, but officials warned that full recovery could take several days given the extent of the grid damage. Federal emergency managers have been notified, and the outage adds to regional strain as neighboring states also grapple with lingering storm impacts. Hospitals in the region switched to backup generators, and dozens of schools reported class cancellations as the outage persisted.
Heavy rain and gusty winds are forecast across the city as the Chicago Air and Water Show lifts off over Lake Michigan today. Meteorologists say showers will move in throughout the afternoon, punctuated by brief dry spells, while wind gusts push toward 20 miles per hour. The show, already in progress, continues with aerial displays and jet ski demonstrations despite the unsettled sky. Officials note the weather pattern follows several days of rain, thunderstorms, and a derecho that rolled through earlier this week, leaving the lakefront damp and the forecast unsettled. Attendees are being reminded that conditions may change rapidly, and crews stand ready to adjust routines as needed. Spectators along the lakefront can still expect the signature fireworks and stunt sequences, weather permitting. The weekend-long program runs through Sunday, with each day featuring a lineup of aircraft and marine acts, coordinated by Chicago Department of Aviation and Weather Service.
A robbery at gunpoint occurred Friday night on the University of Chicago's 800 block of East 55th Street, leaving one victim injured as police search for two suspects. Roman Zabel has the full story.
At about 10:15 p.m. on Friday night, a lone university community member was walking along the sidewalk in the 800 block of East 55th Street, near South Cottage Grove, when two men stepped out, brandishing a handgun. Suspects demanded victims' belongings and fled the scene after the robbery. Campus security and Chicago police arrived within minutes, securing area and beginning an investigation. Officers are reviewing surveillance footage and have asked anyone with information to come forward, but no arrests have been made. University night watch patrols were on the route, and detectives temporarily cordoned off the block while canvassing nearby residences. Several witnesses said they heard the gunfire but did not see the suspects again. Roman Zabel, GMNA News, East 55th.
A suspect opened fire into a vehicle on the early morning streets of Chicago's Humboldt Park, wounding a 16-year-old boy. Police responded to calls shortly after the shots were reported Saturday, August 15. Emergency crews transported the teenager to a local hospital where he remains in treatment for gunshot injuries. Chicago police have opened a homicide investigation, canvassed the area, and are reviewing surveillance footage to identify the shooter. Detectives have asked residents for any information and are conducting a thorough search of the neighborhood. No arrests have been made at this time. The department confirmed that the incident occurred in the Northwest Side's Humboldt Park district, and officers continue to patrol the area while the investigation proceeds. The suspect remains at large, and police have increased patrols throughout Humboldt Park as the investigation continues. Later we'll hear why a Lake County deputy is under investigation for abandoning his K9 in a field, plus more. We will be right back. Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
Welcome back. Lake County deputy faces an internal investigation after accusations that he abandoned his K9 partner in a field earlier today. The Lake County Sheriff's Office confirmed the probe was opened following reports that the officer left the police dog unattended, exposing the animal to potential danger. Officials said the alleged incident occurred on a county roadway outside the town of Libertyville, though the exact location has not been released. The deputy has been placed on administrative leave while investigators review body camera footage and interview witnesses. Sheriff's Office spokesperson emphasized that the department takes any mistreatment of its K9 units seriously and will follow standard protocols. Illinois law requires K9 officers to keep their dogs under direct supervision, and violations can result in disciplinary measures. No charges have been filed at this point, and the outcome will depend on the findings of the ongoing inquiry.
Shots struck a NIPSCO utility truck in Gary Friday night, forcing crews to pause electricity restoration. Mayor Eddie Melton, Gary Police, and Indiana State Police are investigating. Delia Vasquez has the full story.
Gunfire erupted around a NIPSCO utility truck on Friday night as crews worked to restore power after an outage in Gary. Shots struck the vehicle, forcing workers to pull back and suspend repairs until the scene could be secured. Mayor Eddie Melton arrived shortly after, coordinating with Gary Police and Indiana State Police to assess the situation and ensure officer safety. Authorities are investigating the source of the fire and have cordoned off the area while forensic teams collect evidence. No injuries have been reported, and the utility company plans to resume work as soon as investigators clear the site. The incident adds another layer of challenge to the city's ongoing recovery from the recent blackout. Delia Vasquez, GMNA News, Gary.
Tornadoes tore through 7 Chicago area suburbs this summer, leaving a trail of shattered roofs, downed trees, and blocked roadways. The National Weather Service confirmed that the violent funnels touched down in Homewood, Lansing, Wilmington, Tinley Park, Mokna, Moni, and crossed the state line into St. John, Indiana. Emergency crews responded to dozens of calls, clearing debris and assessing structural damage, while utility crews worked to restore power to affected neighborhoods. Officials said the storms added to an already brutal weather pattern that has brought extensive flooding, straight-line winds, and now these tornadoes to the metropolitan region. Preliminary estimates show hundreds of homes lost roofs and a few schools suffered ceiling damage, leading to temporary closures. State emergency teams are assisting responders. The mayor's office urged residents to stay alert for further warnings and to follow instructions from local authorities as recovery efforts continue across the impacted communities.
Chicago police say a man robbed Friday afternoon in the city was later found bound and gagged on the porch of a residence in Harvey, Illinois. Officers responded to a call after the victim was discovered at the south suburb home later that same day. The victim, whose identity has not been released, was taken to a hospital for treatment. Police are treating the incident as a homicide investigation and have secured the scene for forensic analysis. No arrests have been made, and detectives are reviewing surveillance footage from the Chicago robbery and the Harvey location. The robbery occurred on Friday, August 14 in Chicago's West Side, according to the department. The Harvey residence is located near the city's southern border, and investigators say the victim was transported there after the theft. The case remains active as authorities continue to piece together the sequence of events.
Chicago police are searching for 4 suspects accused of assaulting a man with his own cane in South Shore on August 15, 2026. Grady Sokolowski has the full story.
Police say a man was assaulted on a busy South Shore street on August 15. Witnesses reported a group of men snatching the victim's cane, then striking him repeatedly with it before stomping on his back and shoulders. The attack unfolded in broad daylight, drawing a crowd that called for help. Investigators have identified 4 suspects and are urging anyone with information to come forward. The Chicago Police Department released a description of each individual and is reviewing nearby security footage. Officers are canvassing the area, speaking with residents and business owners to piece together the sequence of events. The case remains active as detectives follow leads. Grady Sokolowski, GMNA News, South Shore.
Now let's take a quick look at tonight's forecast and see what weather's bringing.
A weakening ridge and a southerly jet are stripping heat, leaving overcast skies and a lingering humidity surge. The all-time high for August 15th stands at 84 degrees, set in 2020 during an early-season heat wave that pushed temperatures well above the usual 79-degree August norm. The record low is 53 degrees, recorded in 2019 when an Arctic dip slipped far south, slashing temperatures well below the typical 63-degree low. Both extremes are outliers compared with the average high of 79 and low of 63 for this date. Those benchmarks remind us how quickly the Midwest can swing when the jet stream repositions. On the live radar, the screen is a uniform gray, no precipitation echoes across the lake or inland. The lack of returns reflects a dry, stable air mass anchored by near-average pressure that is slowly easing lower, while the modest westerly jet at 500-meter level is too weak to force lift. With high clouds dominating, any shower will have to wait until the next disturbance moves in later tonight. At 6 p.m., the city sits under a thick overcast with a temperature of 79 degrees, humidity lingering at 80%, and a light southerly breeze at 3 miles per hour. Pressure is near average, but easing lower, signaling a gradual shift toward unsettled weather as the upper-level jet drifts eastward at 27 miles per hour. That jet will keep the mid-level flow modest, preventing strong lifting and keeping precipitation at bay for the night. The UV index reads 3, indicating modest solar intensity despite the clouds. Winds will remain light through the evening, and no watches or warnings are in effect. By midnight, the sky will clear, dropping to 73 degrees before the overnight low sets in, setting the stage for tomorrow's pattern. Looking ahead, tomorrow brings a warm, overcast day with a high of 84 degrees and a low of 68, anchored by lingering moisture that keeps clouds thick. Monday will break the cloud cover, delivering clear skies and a comfortable high of 75 with a low of 66, a pleasant dip after the humidity. Tuesday reintroduces a chance of rain, 30% probability, as a weak trough nudges the jet south, producing a high of 81 and a low of 68. Wednesday steadies with mainly clear conditions, high 72 and low 68, as high pressure builds aloft. Thursday returns to clear skies, high 75 and low 68, completing a brief stretch of drier, milder weather before the weekend. And that's your weather. Remember, the local sunset is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Amazon Music or wherever you get your podcasts.
Up next, traffic on Dan Ryan Lane shifts, the original Rainbow Cone Centennial, and tonight's Cubs versus Cardinals showdown. We will be right back. Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
The hit to commuters right now is the lane shift on the Dan Ryan Expressway between 58 and 62 streets. Northbound traffic is reduced to 2 lanes, causing slowdowns and occasional backups near the Stevenson interchange. All other major arteries are clear. If you're heading downtown, stay on the southbound Dan Ryan and use the southbound I-90 and 94 to bypass the bottleneck or shift to the Eisenhower. Expect a few minutes extra at the Kennedy intersection. On the CTA, the 36 Broadway bus detours along Halsted and Madison, adding about 5 minutes, and the 53 Pulaski bus reroutes on Western. Red Line trains face delays, and the elevators at Racine on the Blue Line and Cottage Grove on the Green Line are out of service, so riders must use stairs. Add 10 minutes on the Red Line and consider the Brown Line. The Dan Ryan congestion will likely linger into the evening, so plan for added travel time on any affected routes.
Chicago Air and Water Show is soaring over Lake Michigan this weekend, with pilots threading the sky and Navy jets thundering past the shoreline, perfect for a family outing or a sunset picnic on the lakefront. Mark your calendars for the Chicago House Music Festival and Conference, rolling from Thursday, August 27 through Sunday, August 30 at the Chicago Cultural Center and Millennium Park, where the city's legendary house beats will echo from downtown to the lake. Later in September, the Chicago Story Fest returns on September 18 at the Athenaeum Center for a night dedicated to villains, showcasing gritty short films and live storytelling, ideal for anyone who loves a twist. Finally, the Sound and Gravity Festival kicks off on September 3 and runs through September 6 across venues like the Athenaeum Center, Beat Kitchen, and Constellation, promising experimental soundscapes and immersive installations for the curious ear. And now here's Theo with sports.
Chicago's summer showdown heats up as rival clubs gear up for pivotal matchups. The Cubs open the afternoon at 1:20 Central with the Cardinals, a classic rivalry that still shapes the NL Central race. With both clubs chasing playoff spots, every run matters and fans can catch the live broadcast on Bleed Cubby Blue. White Sox travel to Detroit to face the Tigers, and Miguel Vargas arrives fresh off a 2-home run night that earned him a papal blessing. Detroit's front office, having dealt its ace at the deadline, is now banking on a late-season surge to chase the division crown. Rain clouds hover as the Cubs prepare to host the Cardinals at 1:20 Central. Chicago's offense has thrived in the 6th, posting 93 runs this season, a clear advantage the club hopes to exploit. A strong 6th could tip a tight divisional battle. Fans can join the live discussion for the Cubs-Cardinals clash at 1:20 Central, sharing predictions and reactions. The thread offers a hub for debate on lineups, pitching matchups, and the impact of Chicago's 6th-inning surge, keeping the community pulse on the rivalry. On this day in 1919, Swede Risberg delivered an 11th-inning, game-winning triple that sparked a 10-game winning streak for the White Sox. The dramatic finish helped cement a solid lead that ultimately propelled Chicago toward the pennant that season. A national fan poll now places Pete Crow Armstrong at the forefront of NL MVP conversation, reflecting widespread buzz beyond Chicago. The Cubs' rising star has captured attention with his blend of power and speed, signaling a potential breakout season that could reshape the club's outlook. Stay tuned as Chicago's clubs chase glory through the final stretch.
Thanks, Theo. Original Rainbow Cone in Beverly marks a century of scoops with a 100-year celebration this past Sunday. Founded in 1926, the family-run shop has been handing down its 5-flavor cone, chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, lime, and pineapple to generations of Chicagoans. Today, the shop hosted a street-side gathering, complete of live music, vintage photos, and a limited-edition Centennial Swirl that blends the classic flavors. Neighbors lined the block, sharing stories of birthday parties and late-night runs that made the cone a neighborhood ritual. It's more than ice cream. It's a sweet thread that ties Beverly's past to its future, reminding us why local traditions matter. The celebration highlighted plans to partner with schools for summer art projects and to hire more local staff. Governor Pritzker signs a flood relief bill after touring storm damage. Flash flood watch looms for Chicago. We will be right back. Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
Welcome back. Governor J.B. Pritzker toured Chicago's storm-damaged neighborhoods before signing a flood relief bill that expands funding and local programs to address recent severe flooding. Grady Sokolowski has the full story.
Governor J.B. Pritzker spent Thursday walking through flooded streets in Chicago's South Loop and near West Side, inspecting water-logged homes and damaged infrastructure after the recent severe storms. He met residents with basements still full of debris and listened as city officials pointed out compromised storm sewers and bridges. After the tour today, the governor signed a state bill earmarking new flood relief funds and expanding local mitigation programs, including grants for basement waterproofing and drainage upgrades. The package also adds additional resources for community shelters, school districts, and floodplain mapping, and Pritzker said state partners will work with city engineers to prioritize the most vulnerable zones. Grady Sokolowski, GMNA News, Chicago.
National Weather Service has issued a flash flood watch for Chicago as thunderstorms are forecast to dump torrential rain Friday night into Saturday morning, with rainfall rates potentially exceeding 3 inches per hour. Imani Whitfield has the full story.
Rain clouds are rolling in over the city as the National Weather Service has placed the entire Chicago area under a flash flood watch. Forecasters say thunderstorms expected tonight will dump rain at rates that could top 3 inches per hour, enough to overwhelm drainage and create rapid flooding on streets and low-lying neighborhoods. The watch kicks in at 10 p.m. Friday and runs through Saturday morning, covering the same zones already soaked by earlier showers. Emergency crews are on standby, and drivers are being warned to avoid routes that could turn into rushing rivers. Residents should stay tuned for updates as the storm moves eastward across the lakefront. Imani Whitfield, GMNA News, Lakeview.
Thank you, Chicago, for watching the local sunset. Tonight's coverage of the tragic expressway crash reminded us how quickly lives can change. We appreciate your trust in our reporting. Join us again tomorrow for more stories that matter to our city. Stay safe, stay informed, and keep looking forward.